The book that I read is titled The Essentials of World Languages, Grades K to 12. This book addresses certain concerns or questions that world language or ESL teachers may have in the classroom. And I picked certain questions that I thought were very important and that I also have questioned at one point. So, okay, here is a picture of the book. The book starts off by addressing the term foreign language, which was the term that was used back when we were in school to address second language education. But the term foreign language failed to reflect the interconnectedness of the world's people, their language, and their culture. So this term was dropped, and the term that is now used in schools is world languages. And this term has been adapted to reflect a world where people and cultures are in a constant state of movement and interaction. And where knowledge of world language will enable our students to think and communicate globally in their future lives as citizens and workers. And this term world languages makes the book makes a valid point of the United States. There's so many minorities in the United States, and it's going to continue growing. So we need to so this term should be adapted because all the people that are in this country are part of the world, and they're not foreigners. They're not in the word. The term foreign is just rude to distinguish these peoples as foreigners. No, we need to be more acceptable and respect their language. And then the question that is brought up in the book is, when should language instruction take place? Typically, instruction begins during middle school years. However, if students start early as early education, they have the opportunity to learn a language for a much longer period of time, and that will increase their oral and written skills. Students will later on be benefited by a longer period of instruction of a second language. And one very valid point that a teacher makes in the book is that students don't wait until sixth grade to learn math or language arts. Therefore, language instruction should start in early education because it's very essential to their future career, and especially in a world now that it's changing tremendously and where we interact with so many people from other cultures, it's going to help our students in the long run. So I definitely agree that second language education should be implemented in early education. Okay? And then another question that is addressed in the book is how standards are affecting world language instruction. And standard-driven instruction focuses on meaningful communication and genuine interaction among students through classroom activities that are embedded in authentic real-life context. Language instruction is more realistic now, and we see an emphasis on contextualizing language instruction to make it more meaningful to our students. And here is a picture of the 5 C's, which is from the National Standards of Foreign Language Education, which serves as a guide for teaching languages. We want our students to be able to communicate with others in our target language. Before, there was a focus on just drilling students with vocabulary terms, making them write down essays, emphasizing more on the grammar and less on communication. Well, it's changed. We are focusing more now on communication and making sure our students are able to communicate with others in the target language. That way they are learning both communicative skills and grammatical terms as well. Okay, and then there's certain things that that stuck with me throughout the book, the reading. And the first one was that teaching language is teaching culture, and that teaching culture is teaching language. When, like I mentioned before, when we are teaching our students how to interact in our target language, we're allowing them to be part of that culture. We're allowing them to understand how people in our target language think, speak, interact with others. And that is very important because we're allowing them to be more aware of the surrounding, more for them to have a more global competence. And then the other quote that stuck stayed with me was that the ability to communicate effectively with people across languages and culture is a critical skill in the 21st century. This is going to help our students later on in either in the workplace or their everyday lives. This is by them acquiring another language, we are helping them understand that there are a diverse of people around the world. That people bring with them certain funds of knowledge that will enrich our lives as well, and we want our students too to feel that that they can contribute to another culture, and another culture can contribute to theirs as well. Uh, and there's certain activities that I like that certain teachers mentioned in the book, and one was that a teacher said she picks up a menu, a takeout menu everywhere she goes, and she uses these menus to to teach commands in the classroom, to have students interact with each other, to have students read certain what foods people in their target language eat. So they're not just learning communicating skills, but they're also learning content as well. So I definitely feel like that's a very unique, cool way. And also, it's going to help students. Let's say they go to a country that speaks the target language, it's going to make it easier for them to be able to order food or ask questions. So that's definitely an activity that I would see myself implement in my classroom. And then we have another teacher that suggested that students that are in our classroom that speak another language, we can use their funds of knowledge to implement in our lesson planning. We can have student um, enrich their own language, and we can have the students that are English dominant, learn vocabulary terms from the other student's heritage language. That way, they're both we're addressing both learners in the classroom, and we're also respecting the other students L1. So this is the book that I read, and I hope you have the opportunity to read it because it has a lot of valuable information, and maybe it will address other questions too that maybe you have had that I didn't have the opportunity to touch upon. So thank you.